It's the I Can't Mom Today podcast with Heather, the new mom, and Vera, the seasoned mom. I Can't Mom Today.
Hey, this is Heather and Vera back again with another episode of I Can't Mom Today podcast. I usually introduce you first, but today I was like, nope, it's me.
All right. Well, it's all about you then, Heather. Fine. It's just fun.
How are you?
I'm hanging in there. How about you?
You know, we have had a tough couple days.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get super emotional about this, so I'm trying not to. So we, in the last week and a half, our dog Mexi, who had just turned 15 August 1st, and she was my dog for almost 10 years before I met Brad. And so it was like her and I were like thick as thieves, and just she followed me everywhere. And even though I think she liked Brad a little bit more because he gave her food and I
was the food man.
Yeah. And he probably patted her more, but I was her constant. She walked around. If I went somewhere, she was going somewhere. And her back legs, she's always had arthritis in her legs, but it really got bad to where her legs weren't working very well anymore. She would go from standing to flat on the floor because her legs just gave out. And so she also had a tumor on her neck that there was nothing they could do about it. It just was what it was. And it was soft tissue. And so we couldn't remove it, but the doctors were like, as long as it's not interfering with her breathing and she's not in pain from it, then we're just going to leave it. And so we did, but she had an appointment a couple weeks ago at the vet, and it had doubled in size since February. So that was kind of concerning. And then, her legs hadn't started acting up at that point. And then within a few days of going to the vet, her legs started acting up, and we were just I was like, Brad, I think we need to call it. I hate it, but we made the choice to let her go.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I reached out to the moms and I Can't Mom Today podcast group.
Yeah, on Facebook. You're gonna make me cry. Stop. I'm a sympathetic crier.
Yeah. And so I reached out, what do we do with Baker? Should we include him? How do we handle it? And overwhelmingly, people were like, you need to normalize this because it's not into the world, even though it feels like it to me.
Yeah. Well, that's what one of the moms said, that, our society makes death a catastrophe, and she says that it's not. It's a part of life, and that our society tends to discourage grief, and that letting people cry and grieve in their own way is really important to do. Someone told me once about they're actually professional criers that sometimes people hire at funerals. So they'll you won't know you're at this big funeral, and all of a sudden somebody shows up and they're just crying.
Really?
Yeah. So that it encourages other people to cry.
Oh, well, I mean, I get it, the release, and so we made the decision, but I was in full conference mode, and that was really selfish of me. I should have let her go earlier, but I just wanted to spend some time with her.
Yeah.
And I wasn't able to do it that week. So I kept her until Friday, and we went and took a ride, and we got a puppuccino from Starbucks, which was actually her first one, but we fed her lots of meat because she was on a low protein diet because of her kidneys. And, she wasn't, I don't know. It was I second guessed myself on keeping her so long. Should I have done it earlier? But I can't do that. I just need to know that I gave her the best life that I could, and that she did have a good life. So we chose to have it done at our house because I didn't want to bring her into the vet and just have her in already taking her life.
Yeah.
And then in a vet's office. So we hired somebody to come out to the house, and she was amazing. Truthfully, we had to do it outside because COVID, of course.
Yeah.
But it was in the grass, and she gave us the explanation, and Baker was there, and we prepped him early. We bought some books about dogs going to heaven, and just saying Mexi's sick. But it was so sad. The day of, he's like, I was like, baby, we have to go outside. The vet's coming. And he's like, I don't want to go outside. And I was like, well, Mexi has to go to heaven.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't want her to go to heaven. I want to take her to heaven. I was like,
Oh, bless his heart.
so, but then we were out there, we said our goodbyes, and him and Brad went and played, and Mexi and I, just hung out with her. She was gone, and it was that was really, God, she was freaking amazing. Like, she was just like, it was her time. Like, she needed to go. She was ready to go. And I was just like, okay, and so, yeah, it was just it was as good of an experience, I guess, as you can have at that time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I if that's something that you have to do, I highly recommend hiring somebody to come to your house and do it.
Yeah, I didn't even know that you could do that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, did you just find this person online? How did you?
Well, I found a couple things there, and maybe there were signs from above that I should have
heeded
saw way earlier. But my friend Tanya had used this service 2-3 years ago with her dog, and at that point Mexi I've been preparing since she was 10. I was like, she was born old. She's always had health issues.
Yeah.
But we've always done everything we can. And it's been like, UTIs repeatedly, allergies, she just always had something going on. And we moved into this house, and then I started seeing all these next door things where people were like, hey, I need to bring somebody into my house to, to put our dog down. And then I was like, kept remembering, I was like, Mexi, I know Mexi's not gonna live that much longer. So I just need to, keep these in, and I should have probably done it then, truthfully, but hindsight's 2020, right? When you're around it, you don't notice it as much.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I held out on our dog Speckles. I was the one that held out on her, and it was to the point where she couldn't even walk at all.
Yeah.
And she was just lying there in the kitchen, and Jerry and Luke were both like, come on, Vera. You gotta let her. I was like, I know. So, and that's selfish of me, honestly. I realize now in hindsight. But like we've said before, as a mom, you don't know, even as a furry mom, or not furry mom to a furry child, you question yourself regularly,
Yeah.
about whether you do the right thing. So,
but I think when you're around it, you don't see it sneak up as fast. Like they slowly disintegrate, and you don't realize it until they're, somebody else might have been like, holy cow, like this dog's hurting, but you don't see that because you see them every day, and they just slowly, it's like when you gain weight, you can't tell when your partner gains weight unless you look back at pictures because you're with them all the time.
Yeah.
So,
of course, with the existence of moobs, that's often a sign.
Yeah.
Man boobs.
But if you're a woman, I already have them. So,
yeah, that's true.
But yeah, so it just sneaks up on you. But I'm glad we got her out of pain. I'd do anything to give her back.
I know. Well, how did Baker handle it after everything was said and done? Or how is he handling it?
He actually hasn't really talked about her. I mean, I know there's gonna be a time where he does, but he hasn't said anything, or maybe he I don't know. Like, maybe he's just smart and understands it. Oh, she had to go. I mean, we told her, we told him this is the last time you're gonna see her.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think I agree with what a lot of the people said on their Facebook group was, I think that was really good advice when they said, go ahead and teach him that death is a part of life, circle of life.
Yeah.
Sorry, Elton John. I just
agreed. And then Brad was like, I don't think it's a right for him to be part of it. I was like, well, the people online are saying,
right? Our Facebook group knows, and they said he needs to be there.
Yeah, and so he's like, I don't want to force him. And I was like, no, absolutely not. We will give him an option, and we really didn't give him an option. He just walked away, and he wanted to play and hang in a tree, and so he was doing that. And once she was gone, he said his final goodbye, and
yeah. Did you have her cremated or?
Yeah. We will have her cremated. Yes.
Yeah. That's what we did with Speckles. And it was actually kind of cool. They gave us one of those boxes that has if you ever decide you want to bury the ashes, you can, and the box will grow wildflowers. It's got
neat.
like wildflower seeds in it, or you just like right now we're keeping it so that we can say hello to her. But again, that's something.
We just got the ashes because it was either bury her ourselves in a 4-foot grave, pass.
Yeah.
And like, that's not like, if you want to do it, go for it. But that's not my thing.
Yeah.
And then we could either do that, or we could cremate her in like a group or by herself. And so like, I was like, I chose to do the extra money because I told Brad, I was like, I would never have you cremated with other people. So I can't do it to her.
Yeah.
And so we will spread her ashes somewhere. We won't keep it. Like that's not her. And so to us, and that's fine. And, we'll eventually figure out where to do it. But
yeah. This is going to sound totally morbid, but I've often thought about like, you think about when you pass away or whatever, and for yourself, of course, then it's like, well, you're dead. You don't really know, like, but then I think about how I don't want my body to be buried in a graveyard somewhere where like 100, 200 years from now, they decide to move it because they want to build something or, because that does happen. I've seen Poltergeist. I know.
These are true things.
So I like, yeah. So I often think, I think, but then if you're cremated, then what do you do with the ashes? And then, so that becomes a
you
thing.
have an ash story.
Well, I do. You mean about my grandmother?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh gosh. I forgot I told you that. Yeah, that was interesting because my dad, it is kind of funny actually. And it's ironic too, because my dad and my grandmother, it was his mother, had kind of a strained relationship. I mean, she was an amazing grandmother. My sister and I loved her, and she was so much fun. I think she's the coolest lady ever. But when she passed away, she lived in this awesome little house in New Hampshire in the White Mountains, and it was on a brook. It was just beautiful. And she had asked for her ashes to be spread in the brook. Well, my dad went through the proper channels because, you're really supposed to, environmentally, you're supposed to ask for permission to wherever you're going to spread ashes. And the people in the town or whoever, City Hall, whoever they were, said, you can spread them next to the brook, but not in the brook because it could pollute it or whatever. I don't know what the reasoning was exactly. So we're all standing there next to the brook. My dad has the ashes and they're in like a bag inside the box, and he pulls it out and he says, I guess we're saying goodbye, blah, blah, blah. We each say something little, and he goes to like dump them out basically. And all of a sudden there's this big gust of wind that pops up and they all blow right in my dad's face. And that's where I think it's ironic. It was like my grandmother's way of saying, last laugh,
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to get rid of me that easily, So we couldn't help but kind of giggle, because it was so ironic. And it was a lot messier. Like you see it on movies and stuff, and it just seems to happen so magically. And it was actually kind of clumsy. So, there you go. And then I think he did keep like one little urn of just a few of the ashes. I think he did, if I remember correctly, to keep himself. Which I was surprised because, like I said, he loved her and they loved each other, but it was just, they had, like I said, a strained relationship. So, yeah. But
yeah, I definitely want to be cremated. I've taken up enough space in this world.
Right.
That I'm good.
Yeah, me too. That's what I think that I would do too, or ask for.
That being said, I'm going to have my ashes laminated into cards where every one of my loved ones has to take a card and take me with them everywhere.
Are you really? Are you being serious?
I swear.
Oh my God.
That is my last will and testament.
Oh my God.
And it is now in like recording.
Oh geez. So speaking of, you're never going to get rid of me.
Yep.
Oh, wait, so it's going to be like a card, like a business card where it
Yeah,
says,
like but a little laminate card. Maybe I'll get pressed into a paper.
yeah.
So that one day when like that person ultimately passes as well, that it'll
decompose.
go in a landfill.
Yeah, maybe you shouldn't get it laminated because then it won't disintegrate.
Now rule the world.
That's right. All these little laminated cards everywhere.
We'll come together. I'll be like,
all right. You'll reconfigure yourself somehow.
Yeah.
Hey, that's a movie plot or something.
Yeah. You're welcome. Hollywood.
So did you see? I'm totally digressing. They're coming out with like a third or fourth version of Batman.
There's 55 Batmans.
Oh my God.
We just got HBO because Scooby-Doo was on there and Baker wanted to watch it. So we didn't cancel it. But I was looking on there. It's like just released. And I'm not kidding you when I say there's like 8 Batman movies. I was like, well, I'm like,
yeah. Well, and in every Batman, it's a different story. It's like the Spider-Mans. Like that's what I was talking to Luke about it. He's the one that told me, and he was like, "Yeah, well, there have been 3 Spider-Mans in my lifetime, and he's only 17." I'm like, "Yeah." So I bring that up because I'm annoyed with Hollywood because apparently they can't come up with anything new.
Well, we're recycling all our old movies now.
I know, and it's weird. It makes me feel old. Like they need to like remake Pretty Woman, and then I'll really want to die.
Oh, I wonder who would play that. I feel like that's such an iconic role that like you can't mess with that.
I don't know. You'd be surprised.
I know.
Who would? It actually was just Richard Gere's birthday, I think, yesterday, which is kind of funny. He's 71. You want to feel old? 71, Richard Gere.
That's crazy.
But yeah, so who do you think could play? Like, if they remade the movie now, who would play Richard Gere's part?
Richard Gere, God. Probably one of the Hemsworths.
I was gonna say Chris Hemsworth. Although I don't know, what is it? Liam is the other one.
I don't know and there's like a third one, I think.
Yeah, I think there are 3 of them.
I don't know who these new people are because I haven't gone to a movie in at least 6 months.
Well, yeah, same here, obviously.
But
Alexander Skarsgård. Alexander Skarsgård.
He might be too. I don't know. I guess Richard Gere was kind of salt and pepper.
Yeah, he was like in his 40s. I think he was supposed to be in his mid to late 40s in that movie.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know.
Yeah, Alexander Skarsgård. That's my pick. And then who would play Julia Roberts' part?
Maybe her niece. Emma.
Oh yeah, Emma Roberts. I don't like her as much as Julia Roberts, though.
They do look a lot alike, though.
They do. They both have that big mouth with the big smile, which is cute. It's very endearing.
Yes.
But it looks like Emma Roberts got her teeth fixed more than Julia Roberts did.
I don't know.
You ever noticed that? Emma Roberts' teeth are way straighter.
Yeah,
Important things we talk about here on I Can't Mom today. These are the crucial issues in the world.
Let off on a good note or a high note. So
that's right. Yeah. See how I did that?
Yeah, I love it.
So if you want to send us any emails or contact us, you can find us at I Can't Mom Today podcast at Gmail, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Please join the Facebook group, YouTube, and please do rate this podcast. Please, hopefully rate it well. And we're open to any constructive criticism or any comments that you have. We would love to hear from you. But yes, please do rate it because we're still trying to fight that one person who had a vendetta against us and had her and her whole posse rate us really low.
Yeah, crawling up from the pits of hell right now.
Butt munch. Karma.
It's fine.
I had to express that. So.
We're here for our people, and our people know who we are.
Exactly. Y'all with us.
Yeah. All right. Until next time.